Welcome to this Hop at Home concert at the home of the West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts at Union Episcopal Church. We're so pleased to have you here today. My name is Melissa Richmond, and I will be performing with Sally as well. We're going to be introducing you to the Jesse R. Filman Steinway, which was going to be premiering at our summer concert series, but we're so pleased to have Sally here and Evan to perform on this beautiful instrument as well. We will be starting the program with the third movement of the Reinecke Undine Sonata, which is right in the heart of this beautiful story of the sea nymph who gains her soul through marriage to her knight husband, but the plot thickens, and that's at the point that you're going to actually hear this performance today.
It's a very special pleasure to be able to present to you some movements from a piece that was written especially for Sally and me by an old friend, unfortunately no longer with us, Daniel Pinkham. He wrote a number of sets for us, all of them with the aim of a young pianists or pianists playing. This one is come from a group called Weather Reports with descriptive sounds and titles. The three that you will hear are At Dawn, a Gentle Breeze Will Come Up, Steady Rainfall, and Occasional Sudden Gusts.
Hi everyone, thanks for being here. Last time I saw you, it was in February in Spalding, and since then we've been teaching remotely and now doing virtual concerts, and I keep talking about making lemonade. So today we are making the perfect lemonade because it's with the best friends. The next piece by Robert Schumann was written in 1849. It was a very good year for him. He wrote about 20 major pieces. This was initially titled Romance and Allegro for horn or violin or cello and piano, which was typical of like music making in salons, and he made a lot of money out of selling sales and stuff like that. We don't know whether the viola arrangement is his. We think it wasn't, but I have a suspicion that he would have been very happy about it because he loved the viola. And speaking about friends, it's a perfect place and evening to introduce my dear friend Lila. We met a long time ago, not far from here at Marlborough, and it's a very, very special pleasure to have her here. And I hope you enjoy the piece.
Sergei Rachmaninoff attended Moscow Conservatory as both a composer and a pianist, and it's thus not surprising that the vast majority of his early works were for piano of some form. Among these 20 or so works are 3 pieces for piano duo, all of which were premiered by him and his teacher. 2 of them are for 2 pianos. The Opus 11, the 6 little pieces, were for piano 4 hands. You'll be hearing 2 movements of this. One is a Russian theme, and it's a marvelous recreation of Russian folk music. And the second is a valse, but not such as you'd find from Brahms' 4-hand music or something, which would be danced by amateurs, but this is a broad and wonderful tribute to Tchaikovsky's ballet tradition.
I was once in the Harvard Library, and they happened to be doing spring cleaning, and I saw this second viola sonata by Ross Lee Finney, and I thought, I had just heard a piece by him performed by the Boston Modern Orchestra Project, which I really liked, and I put it on my shelf, and I'm very happy to get a chance to play it with Sally Pinkas now. We'll play the first movement. Finney's life spanned almost the entire 20th century. He died in 1997. He was not breaking with any special tradition, so he may not have been noticed yet so much by history, but I think the fact that he was just extremely good at what he did and did have his own voice will become clear, and I hope our performance will contribute to a trend to his pieces being played more often. He won many prizes. He taught at Carleton College, at Smith College, at the University of Michigan. He founded the Electronic Music Studio. One of his students was the famous George Crumb. But most interesting for this performance is that after the Hop Art Center was built in 1962, he was one of the first composers in residence there and had many works performed there.
The final two pieces on our program are by Lili Boulanger. She was the younger sister of Nadia Boulanger, who in fact was the teacher of both Pinkham and Finney of this program. There are lots of connections here. She was a child prodigy, and in fact her talent was recognized at age 2 by the composer Fauré, with whom she ended up studying. The two pieces you hear tonight, first is Nocturne, which is from a set of two pieces for violin and piano. It was written in 1911. The second piece, I will not try to say it in French. It basically means a morning in spring, and it again was originally for violin and piano. Then she made the arrangement for flute and piano, for piano trio, and then for orchestra. The piece was written in 1917. She orchestrated it in 1918 and died. She died very young. You can hear an extremely promising young composer with echoes of some Fauré and from Debussy, and I wish I could imagine what she would have become had she lived, because she was obviously extremely talented. So I hope you like these pieces.
so much for joining us this evening. It's been wonderful to play for you, and it's been so great to have Lila and Evan and the fabulous Sally here with us this evening. Please stay well and healthy.
And please stay tuned to the upcoming conversation between Melissa and the Hopkins Center Director Mary Lou Aleskie. They will be talking about upcoming plans for the West Claremont Art Center and future collaborations between the Hopkins Center and the center.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Lou Aleskie, and thank you all for joining us for that fantastic concert. I want to thank Sally Pinkas for organizing this extraordinary evening for us. I also want to thank the other musicians, Evan Hirsch and Lila Brown, and especially Melissa Richmond, the flautist, who has just given a performance that we have all enjoyed very much. She's a consummate musician. She's a composer, conductor, arranger, and she wears another hat even in tonight's concert, because she was also the host of tonight's concert as the founding director of the West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts. And tonight we get to hear a little bit more about her work as an innovative presenter, producer, and even economic development community builder. So with that, please welcome Melissa Richmond for a conversation about the work that she does every day. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi, Mary Lou. It's a pleasure to be here with you and the Hopkins Center audience.
We all heard you perform. What a great concert. Thank you. Thank you so much. But tell us a little bit about the center and tell us a little bit about your motivation in founding the center in Claremont.
Great. Yeah, I'd be very happy to tell you about that. It's a fun story. So I grew up in Claremont, actually. And I went away after I graduated from Stevens High School. I went to Dalhousie University for my music degree. But in this little corner of the Upper Valley, it was difficult getting access to education for music and other types of opportunities. So that was obviously a big part of my development as a musician. So when I graduated with my Bachelor of Music degree, I thought, you know, I've had this wonderful experience. I wish that my community had more access to these types of concerts, these types of educational opportunities, because I was in Halifax, Nova Scotia at the time. And so in 2008, I founded the West Claremont Center for Music and the Arts as the summer concert series at Union Church. So the vision was to start having really wonderful world-class and locally driven as well concerts in Claremont, and giving the community access, basically, because we have so many wonderful venues in the Upper Valley. But if you've got a pretty packed schedule and you live in Claremont, that little bit of travel can mean a big difference to whether you're taking lessons or whether you're going to a concert.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you moved back to your hometown. You brought with you a recognition of a kind of absence, but also in Claremont, you also have really focused on families. And I think that that's a little bit of where our relationship began long before my arrival here. 7 years ago, we started to work together on a kind of run out of our hop stops. And those are our free family events that happen throughout the year on Saturday mornings here in Alumni Hall at the Hopkins Center, but then we pack it up and we take it on the road and we come to Claremont. So tell us about the families that you serve, and tell us about how that partnership has helped you think about what else you could be doing in Claremont.
So the families that we serve are, Claremont's a predominantly low and moderate income community, about 75% or more. And so when we started having the conversations with the Hopkins Center, we had recognized a big gap in our own programming, but also a capacity issue. You know, it's mostly just me. Unfortunately, as much as I try to do everything I can, it's just not realistic. So it was really wonderful when I started having the conversation with Stephanie Pacheco, who is head of outreach at the time. And we had a lovely conversation at the Common Man in Claremont, and came up with this this partnership that was going to work great with the community venture initiative that the Hop was just starting to work on, and also to serve our broad reach of families, because we were only doing a little bit of family programming at the time. We do residencies and we do in-school activities. We're most known in some circles for our taiko drumming workshop, but that wasn't always reaching those younger ages. And so that's kind of where this beautiful partnership started.
So that's fantastic. So, you know, cut to 7-8 years later, and here we are in the middle of a pandemic. And once again, we find a way to come together as problem solvers, essentially, right? So I am so grateful to you, and we're all so grateful to you. The Hopkins Center has been offline for the summer. It is not ready to receive the general public, is not ready even to receive our staff on a more regular basis, but yet you know, the Hopkins Center has been committed to really meeting its mission of keeping our community together through music and the arts. And you were able to say, well, I've got a great piano, and maybe we can forge a relationship that's about supporting concerts here in Claremont. So this concert, which we just heard, and more in the future, actually, are coming to you live streamed from Claremont. So tell us about your ability to do that, and what else you might like to see happen in the future.
Absolutely. So we would normally, this would be entering into our summer concert series, which is our busiest concert season. And we are also not using our main venue for public concerts. We're moving to a digital format as well. So when I was working with Sally on a program for St. Gaudens, when she was working with the Hopkins Center for this concert, it sort of came up as a lovely option because we had this great Steinway donated by the family of Jesse Philman, and it was going to premiere our concert series this year. We were going to have a number of wonderful artists playing on it. So it's really wonderful to have Sally introduce that instrument to our audience and yours.
Yes.
And it's just the way it worked out when we had it delivered. It's in our rehearsal space, which means that we don't need to open up the big hall. We can use this smaller venue that's wonderful for recording and has plenty of room for social distancing for the artists. It's an easy in out, so you don't have a lot of sanitizing that you need to do. All those little tiny pieces that you have to do when you have anybody enter your space.
Yeah.
So it's been wonderful, and I was the only one using it because that's the space that I teach from. So.
Oh, that's amazing. So I feel a little bit like, I don't know exactly what the distance is between Hanover and Claremont. I think it's probably about 20 miles or so, but you know, in some ways it's so much bigger just because of, you know, you mentioned earlier how we navigate and how difficult transportation is. And so all of a sudden our audiences are now together and they don't have to leave their home, and we get to celebrate the West Claremont Center, and we get to celebrate the Hopkins Center. And hopefully this is the basis for a larger collaboration going forward. I know we'll be back for 2 more concerts this summer, but tell us a little bit about your hopes and dreams for the development of the center. This is where I'm fascinated. I know you've entered into pretty extensive public-private partnerships that will birth a new venue for the Upper Valley. And tell us about that. Tell us about how we can be bringing our communities together around that effort.
Great. So, well, actually, you kind of hit the nail on the head in a way when you were talking about transportation, because we love the venue that we're in that's provided by the Union Church, but it's about 2.5 miles from the center of town, which means that a lot of families that struggle with transportation are going to have a hard time getting where we're at. So that conversation started about probably 5 or 6 years ago with the city of Claremont as around what buildings would be a good fit for what we want to do, which is continue our presenting, but having other options downtown. So having a great presenting option, but also having a really wonderful place for education, for music especially, but also we do visual arts workshops as well. So that's kind of where this Claremont Creative Center was born. We identified this great historical property at 56 Opera House Square, which for those of you that have been to Claremont, it is right next to City Hall. It's walkable for more than 50% of Claremont, which makes it excellent for students who want to study an instrument because they may be living in an apartment as well and not be able to practice at home. So we're going to have practice spaces, we're going to have teaching spaces, we'll have culinary space as well, and then a performing arts venue, a smaller one. Previously it was rated at about 115. It's now probably 5, but that's okay. We're nothing if not creative. But to make this whole process happen, we have this fabulous relationship with the city of Claremont and the Claremont Development Authority. The city owned the building and it's been transferred to the Development Authority. So they're doing a part of the renovation because this building has been empty for more than 20 years. It needs complete renovation. We have it budgeted at about $2.7 million. So it's a substantial project for us as a small organization, but we have great other partners like the New Hampshire Community Development Finance Authority, who have awarded, the Arts Center has been awarded $400,000 in tax credits, and we have lots of tax credits left for those businesses who might be interested. And we've also, the Claremont Development Authority has received $500,000 in community development block grants for the project.
Wow. So who's a good candidate to buy some tax credits, and what do they get for that?
So tax credits are this really fascinating program, especially for those of us who've been in fundraising. It's very interesting. So tax credits will work for a business who has employment taxes or business profit taxes, and it'll also work for certain insurance groups. And what happens is they will buy the tax credits from CDFA, and so 75% of that completely gets removed from their state tax burden. The other 25% count as a federal donation. So they really end up contributing, other than their tax burden, about 11% or so, depending on your particular business. So it's a really great way to keep your taxes helping a local arts initiative.
And really invest in your own capitalization of your own business. So if anybody's looking for affordable real estate in a vibrant and developing district, it sounds like a real path toward recovery in this post-pandemic time. How exciting. Oh my gosh, Melissa, that's amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you. This has been sincerely such a pleasure to take our partnership to a new level. I hope that this is not the last problem we solve together or dream that we dream together. I suspect it won't be. The Hopkins Center continues to want to stay present and connected to its community. And what we have learned is there's a whole community all around the state, all around the region, and indeed all around the country and the world who's tuned in to Hop at Home, who otherwise wouldn't be with us because of geographic barriers. So let's keep working on that together. And I look forward to a robust rest of the season for the summer, and maybe even some things into the fall and into the new academic year that continues. So thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you. It's such a wonderful partnership. We love working with you.
Yeah, and thanks for joining me here tonight, and thank you for the concert. Just very quickly to our audience, I just want to say thank you again for being with us. As many as 15,000 of you have joined us over the course of the last few months. We look forward to many, many more. We will see you tomorrow night for some activities with Dance Theater of Harlem. I can't wait for that. They've been working on campus and teaching and creating, and we can't wait to share their conversation with you. And then back on July 30th, we're back in Claremont with Filippo Ciabatti and more musical guests, and much, much more throughout the summer from Hop at Home. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Claremont. Thank you to our Hop audience. We'll look forward to being with you throughout the summer and into the fall.